Hey everybody, welcome to this month's bi-monthly group coaching call. This is one of my favorite topics, how to speak to a multifamily broker with confidence. And this particular topic came about as a result of an email that I received from one of our masterclass clients. And I'll give you a little bit of a disclaimer in just a moment, because I don't want you to necessarily approach the brokers the way that I do, but I want you to hear the disdain in my voice as we go through this particular process, so you can understand exactly where you need to be coming from. Okay. Now, obviously, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. It's the beginning of April. This is a recorded phone call. You'll find all of these calls on the membership site under the group coaching call site. I like to keep, I'm going to build up a huge library of these phone calls and categorize them so that you can all find exactly what you're looking for as time goes on. And this one just happens to be done in April. I'm not even going to tell you what year it is. But coming up, you would have received the email from me that shows the schedule of events for April. We've got 2 group coaching calls tonight regarding a multifamily broker, and then on April 16th at 4 p.m. I just received confirmation that she will be available. We will be having a live conversation with Kim Taylor. She's an SEC attorney out of Gene Trowbridge's office. I think the world of this woman, and I highly recommend you be on that call. It will be live on April 16th at 4 p.m. If you have any questions for an SEC attorney, please be on that call, because, or if you're not able to be on that call, send me an email and I will ask your question to her live on that call. It will be recorded. It will be up on the group coaching archives so that you can always go back to it. So make sure that you're either listening to that call, you're involved in that call, you get questions, let me know. I will make sure that they get answered for you. Okay? Then on Monday, April 13th at 4 p.m., we're going to do an assumption analysis. And the reason why I've decided to do an assumption is because I received an email, a text message actually, from an owner forum member who is he's looking at an assumption deal right now. And I said, listen, don't you even think about making that assumption offer without having spoken to me first. And so I decided, let's do an assumption deal on April 13th so you can all take a look at it and see exactly what you need to do if the property needs to be, the mortgage on the property needs to be assumed. Okay? If you don't know how I feel about assumptions already, it's because we have not worked together all that much. Because if you had to ask that question, you would know I hate assumptions. I think they are a scam. Not a scam, but the fact is that if you are looking to do an assumption, the seller owes you huge. And therefore, that should come out in the offer price. And you need to understand that when you're going into these types of deals, okay? Also in April, actually I run the Boston RIA for my good friend Duncan Weirman. So we will be running that on April 7th. But I'm also going to be speaking 2 days later down at the Southern Connecticut RIA in Norwalk, Connecticut. We're going to be doing a 3-hour event there. If anybody wants any more information on that, they can just shoot me an email. I'll get you there, get you the information. That should be fun. I don't like to do RIAs. I really, I like to sit here in my coaching classes and help clients all the time. RIAs are such a pain in the neck. But you know what? They asked me to do it, and I said, okay, fine. I'll be happy to come down there to Connecticut. All right. Then hey, this is a really cool thing. Our first owner forum mastermind group for the groups 1 and 2 are going to be conducted on April 13th, which is a Monday, and then that April 16th. So at 6 p.m. we're going to be doing the video teleconference for the first owners forums in the mastermind group, for the mastermind groups for the owner forum. And I'm looking forward to these. This is going to be a new concept. The people, we have 10 people in this particular owner forum. We're going to work out the kinks through April, make sure that we've got everything working well. And then also at the end of this video, tonight's call, I'm going to tell you, if you're looking to get into the owner forum, I have one last group that I'm going to set up on a discounted basis. Not a fully discounted like these people are getting, but slightly more than what it's going to go out to when it hits the market in June. So I want to make that available to my membership right now, because I really appreciate all you people supporting me, and I want to make sure that you get a deal to get into that owner forum, which I really think is, I want to make that the best program out there in the marketplace. And I think you'd agree when you see what it entails. It's really kind of cool. I got 2 new blog posts coming up. Actually, it's 1 new blog post and 1 repeat of an old one. But that'll be coming up this month as well, so watch for those also. Now, disclaimer, you guys must be sick of this, but I got to say it. As required by the Massachusetts Bar Council's office. And why do they require this? Because during my SEC times, when they finally came back and said, I did nothing wrong, but I needed to disclose better to people who I represent, that is why you are getting the Mass Bar Council office's disclaimer. I'm a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. Get a lawyer, okay? That's it. I'm acting on your behalf more as a consultant. I'll perform all the services like a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. There's no confidentiality. There's no privilege in our communications. You need to understand that I cannot handle things in your jurisdictional area. Therefore, get a lawyer. I will work with your lawyer and make sure that things get done properly, but just do it right. Okay. Now, we're going to go through essentially the questions that client had asked me on that email. And there are about 7 to 9 questions. Now, if you have any questions in your mind as to how you need to approach a multifamily broker, just go ahead and type them into the questions box, and I will add them to the list. All right? So if anybody is thinking of something that I did not, somebody just asked a question about the owner forum. Now, the thing about the owner forum is I set it up. There are only supposed to be 5 people in each in each owner forum. So if you look at the list, I have owner forum 1 and owner forum 2. Now, the problem is that I've got one on Monday night, I got one on Thursday night, I got people that want to be in some groups but not in others. So what I've decided to do is, for those 10 initial people, they will be able to get into either one of the groups. They can come to either one of the sessions and sign up and listen into it. And, I'm going to try to figure out, as we go through the owner forum process, how I need to limit it to a particular group. But right now, for the first 2 groups, I'm going to try to open it up to everybody so that everybody can try to make it to the different groups. So, Harley, the answer to your question is come to one, come to all, and figure out which one you want to be in. Okay, I really appreciate the first people in that group. They're taking a chance with me. I appreciate that, and I'm going to try to make sure that everybody gets their needs taken care of in that situation. So, all right, if anybody has any questions about a particular broker scenario, type them into the question box, and I will make sure that I go through them throughout this conversation. So let's take a look at the first type of question. These are actual questions from brokers to investors. Now, the broker does not know that this person is a new investor, though he probably suspects that he's a new investor. Maybe the broker, maybe the investor, said something that was a red flag in the broker's mind, and as a result, he's a little leery. So therefore, he's going to start asking some probing questions of you. Now, I am going to answer these questions as I would. I am I'm from the Northeast. I'm from Boston. We don't suffer fools very well. And so you are going to hear me get a little irate at some of these questions. And you'll hear my answers and the anger in my voice as I answer these questions. I do not recommend you take that approach with a broker that you've never done business with and the fact that you're brand spanking new. What I recommend you do is just understand why I get mad at these types of questions from brokers, and hopefully it will give you a change in perspective as to how you need to approach brokers. And the reason why I say that is because when I first got started, I was terrified to speak to a broker as well. I mean, this guy, oh, hey, yes, please send me your property packages. I'll work them up. I'll do a great job, and I'll submit an offer to you. As opposed to where I am right now in my investing career, where it's like the broker has to prove to me why this is a good deal, why I should bother working on this particular property package. So understand my perspective as we go through this process. First question from the broker is, do you have the cash to close? Now, if a broker ever comes to you and asks that question, you should be insulted. At least I would be. A new investor might think, oh my gosh, he's going to find out I don't have any money. Well, you know what? There's no reason for him to know you don't have any money. It's none of his business. Do you have the cash to close? Well, okay, now here's where you're getting my Irish up on this particular question. Well, do I need cash to close this particular deal? Are you trying to tell me that this deal I will not be able to get this deal financed by a bank? I have to come to this deal with all cash? Well, if I have to come to this deal with all cash, then my offer is going to be substantially reduced. Are you telling me that this property requires all cash? No, 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 no. I just want to know, will you have the 20% down in order to get this deal closed? Oh, well, listen, if this deal requires 20% down to close, I will have that money available for me when we close. And if it requires 25% down, I will have that available. But let's make sure the property can qualify for that amount of deposit, that amount of a mortgage, before we start talking about how much money I need to close on this deal. Do you see what I did? And you'll see that me do this throughout the whole course of these questions. I put it back on the broker, and I put it back on the property. I totally deflect. I'm like Wonder Woman with those magic bracelets. I totally deflect everything that he comes at me with by saying, it's not about me. It's about the property. If the property can support this, then I'll be able to close. If the property can't support this, then I can't close. And it's not my fault. Don't blame me. So that's when you see the broker come in there, like, do you have cash to close? Do I need cash to close? Right away, I come back with a question. Do you have cash? Do I need cash? So I want you to think in your mind, I want you to think like a lawyer. You put up the roadblocks. You don't answer the question. You come back with another question. And you're putting that broker on his heels because he is only trained a certain way. He's only trained to ask the questions. He's not trained to answer them. And once he's asked to answer those questions, he gets all flustered. He can't handle the conversation. And that's the way you want to be. You want to be in control of the deal at all times. You'll hear me say that throughout the whole course of our time together. You'll hear me say that when we're at the due diligence seminar. You must always remain in control of the deal. That's it. Okay, next question. And once again, these questions are going right in order as the broker asked my client these questions. Will you be able to provide a proof of funds letter? Okay, I hate this question. This question drives me crazy like you can't imagine. Well, first thing I want you to do is understand what is a proof of funds letter. It's a piece of paper. That is it. It is meaningless in the scope of things. all it says is that this a particular person has the funds needed to close on this particular deal. That's it. Doesn't even mean it's you. It doesn't even mean that the funds are in any particular bank account. That's it. The broker uses this proof of funds letter as the reason why your offer is better than everyone else's. It's a reason why he goes back to the seller and says, this guy's good. He's got a proof of funds letter. Well, what does it take to get a proof of funds letter? And in the owner form, the whole point behind the owner form is to remove all of the roadblocks, to remove all of the hoops and remove all the speed bumps that the brokers put up in your way to prevent you from doing a deal. And the first one is always the proof of funds letter. Folks, I did not write this. This actually came from a client. These are the actual questions that a broker asked him. And so many times I've seen people, new investors, get to this question from a broker and they cave, they fold like a cheap suit. They say, oh, I don't have a proof of funds letter. I can never be in the multifamily business. I'm done. I will just have to rely on my Social Security check when I hit age 65. All right? I don't want that to be you. The owner forum is set up so that if you need a proof of funds letter, I'll get you a proof of funds letter. But I want you to understand how to overcome this particular objection from a seller, from a broker, when he asks it of you. Now go on to multifamilyinvestingacademy.com/blog. And there are 5 pages of blog articles I've written over time. And in there is a blog I wrote about the proof of funds letter, and I want you to read it. And it has to do, I have a video on there of Monty Python. And you will get the joke when you watch and read my blog post, okay? When a broker asks you for a proof of funds letter, here's what you want to say. Do you want a hard proof of funds or a soft proof of funds? And a broker will look at you and they won't know the answer. Well, I don't know. Do I want a hard proof of funds or a soft proof of funds? Well, if the broker says, well, I don't know, then I can't get you what you're looking for. Well, I want a soft proof of funds. Well, for how much? Well, for the down payment. Well, what will that be? Well, I don't know. Well, neither do I. So, you know, you're doing the dance with the guy. He asks you for a proof of funds, but you don't even know how much for. I mean, if a broker asks you for a proof of funds for the full purchase price, tell him to go pound sand. You are not going to have a proof of funds letter. You know, if you're looking to buy a $5 million property, you're not going to have a bank account that has $5 million in it. And if this guy asks you for it, he's a knucklehead. If anything, you should have a proof of funds of $1 million or 20% of that $5 million purchase price. But you got to make him ask you for that. And if you need $1 million, fine, we'll get you $1 million. I got a guy that's got $10 million in a bank account, and he'll show you a proof of funds letter, you know, for a price. He'll write out a letter because all the letter says is that this person has this amount of money in this bank account. It doesn't say that this person is going to invest in your deal. No, that's not what a proof of funds says. All the proof of funds says is this person, you know, could be your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother, has this amount of money in this bank account. That's it. You show up and you attach that to your offer just got stronger. It's crazy. I know it sounds stupid, but that's how ridiculous a proof of funds letter is, and that's why I can't stand proof of funds letter, but every broker will ask you for it. So go back and read that blog post that I wrote years ago. It's actually pretty funny. It has to do with the Bridge of Death. And if anyone's on the call right now that is a Monty Python fan, you will know exactly the joke involved there. So, all right. I'm just checking. I'm checking questions right now. Yeah, thanks, Vance. I appreciate it. But Bob Bryant, inappropriate comments from Bob Bryant, as we can always expect from Bob. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Here we go. Are you pre-approved for financing? Do I need to be pre-approved? Do you see what I just did? I just totally turned it around. Do I need to be pre-approved? Why should I be pre-approved? We haven't even looked at the property yet. I'm not looking to, the approval for this mortgage is not going to be based upon me. It's going to be based upon the property. Is the property qualified to be financed? If it is, then we shouldn't have a problem. Why are you asking me if I need to be pre-approved? If you're asking me whether I need to have, if I have a key principal or I have the right people on my team, don't worry about that. I'm in the Multifamily Investing Academy Owner Forum. I have key principals. I have all the right people lined up behind me to make this thing happen. But why are you even asking me whether I need to be pre-approved? What's wrong with the property? The property is what gets approved in financing, not you. That's why when you hear people say that the property was under contract before you and the buyer could not perform, the truth of the statement is the property could not perform. It had nothing to do with the buyer. But the brokers will never tell you that. So when you hear a broker say the buyer could not perform, don't believe what he just said. What he just meant to say was that the property could not perform. And so that's where the problem lies. I mean, of course, a buyer may not be able to perform. A buyer may not be able to come up with a down payment. But I'm telling you, every time I've heard them tell me that the buyer could not perform, it was because the property could not perform, and therefore the buyer could not get the investment money to do the deal. That's how it's always worked. The broker will blame it on somebody else. He will never blame it on the property. So pre-approval for financing does not necessarily happen in the multifamily world. The property is what gets underwritten. Okay? Now, okay, this one you really have to be careful of. Will you be syndicating the deal? Now, as a new investor, you might think, well, look at me. Look what a great job I'm doing here. I am a syndicator, and therefore I will be syndicating this deal. That is code to a broker that you don't have any money. Don't you let the broker know about that code. Never tell the broker that you're syndicating the deal. What you say to the broker when he asks you this question, will you be syndicating the deal, is like, well, that depends. It really depends upon the strength of the deal. If we go back and we find out that this deal is a smoking hot deal and it works out exactly the way you say it will, Mr. Broker, then I have one investor that will write a check and won't be able to do this deal tomorrow. But if it turns out the property is not what you say it is, well, in that case, I might have a little bit of trouble putting the deal together. Why don't you tell me right now, Mr. Broker, is there anything I need to know more about this deal? Let's quit beating around the bush. Tell me what I need to know. Am I going to have a trouble with this property getting financed? Because if I am going to have trouble getting this deal financed, then why don't we just cut the bait right now and move on? And so you put it back on the broker. Will you be syndicating this deal? Am I going to need to syndicate this deal? I have investors that will write a check to do this deal tomorrow, only if it's a good deal. Mr. Broker, is this a good deal? Okay, are you getting the gist of what I'm trying to do here? You just totally deflect. You put it back on the broker. His entire job is to put roadblocks up in front of your way. You are going to plow through these roadblocks and find out they are nothing more than cardboard boxes. You're going to plow right through them to make sure that you get everything you need from that broker and then more. All right? Now, here's an interesting question. This one might kind of be, I never, ever want you to lie to anybody about anything, okay? So when you see the broker come at you with this question, it gets a little tricky. Have you closed on any other deals in the last 12 to 24 months similar to this one? Well, right away when he puts that particular caveat up there, similar to this one, and I'm telling you, I took these questions verbatim from the broker, so I'm not adding in any caveats. But when he says something similar to this one, right away it gives you an out. It's like Bill Clinton, the definition of is. You're parsing the words. In this particular case, is similar to this one? Well, no. There is no deal that is similar to this one. But my investors and my investor group have closed on deals in the last 24 months. So we're looking at this one differently than all the other ones we've done. And that's why we're interested in this one. So, don't lie to the guy. Never, 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 never lie. It'll discredit you immediately. Trust me, the brokers will do it enough for all of us. I know, and hopefully I don't have any brokers on the call right now or ever listening to this recording. I apologize. But the thing is, you want to deflect. You want to put this back on them. Similar to this one? No, nothing is ever similar to this one. Have you ever done the last 12 to 24 months? No, I haven't, but my investor group has. And have you closed on any other deals? Yes, they close on deals all the time. So your question doesn't work, Mr. Broker, if you're looking to try to get a hold of my resume. So therefore, he asks further, do you currently own any properties similar to this one? Once again, fortunately, he sticks that caveat in there, similar to this one. Nothing is like this particular property we're looking at. No, we don't tend to look for properties like this one. This one is unique to the type of properties that my investors look for. So we currently do not own any properties that are similar to this one. That's why we are interested in this particular property. All right, are you seeing how I'm coaching these answers? Folks, if your enemy has a gun, you don't give him bullets. Don't give the broker information that will put you in a bad light. Don't do it. Consider this a first date. You're not going to spill the beans on the first date. So don't do it with your broker. He may sit down with you and go through all of your what's that? I know Bob Bryanton probably knows that dating service, the one that asks all the right questions. That's not the one you're looking for. You want to keep these cards close to your vest. You don't want to give away everything on the first date, like Bob Bryanton. Okay, so let me see what else do we have on there. Okay, will you be able to provide a schedule of real estate owned or a resume? Okay, they call it an REO, or a real estate owned schedule. All right, schedule of real estate owned, same thing. Okay, or a real estate resume. The answer to this is, I can give you a schedule of real estate owned, but I know my bank is going to ask for it anyway. So because of the confidentiality and the privacy that my bank entitles me to, and they're the ones that are really putting up the majority of the money, I am less inclined to show you what I own. I'm more inclined to just give it to my bank. And if I qualify with my bank, then your lender, your seller should not have any problem. You don't want this guy to know what you do or do not own. And let me put that to you. Let me put that to you again. You do not want this guy to know what you don't own. If you don't own anything, you don't want this guy to know. You don't want this guy to know what you own. Okay? I just changed one little word. I don't want the enemy to know how much real estate I own, because that's going to work against me as well. It's never to your benefit to let the enemy have bullets for your gun. Don't tell him what you're worth. It's none of his business. So if this guy's asking you for a schedule of real estate owned, say, oh, of course I have a schedule of real estate owned, and I plan on providing it to my lender because my lender wants to know what I'm worth. And he's the only guy that needs to know. You, Mr. Broker, don't need that information. Just think about it. If you give him that information before you even make an offer, let's say you look really good. I had one particular member of one of my groups. She was worth $16 million on paper. Well, do you think we were able to go back and negotiate a lower price with the seller and try to get a better deal when he found out that one of the buyers was worth $16 million? No, it didn't help us one bit because I was giving bullets to my enemy who has a gun. Don't do that. Schedule of real estate owned is none of the broker's business. He's not entitled to that information. Only your bank is. And the thing is, when we were, doing deals and we had other key principals coming in, we made it very clear to our key principals and to everyone else that, hey, listen, we need you to submit your information to the bank. Do not submit it to us, even your partners, because I don't even want to know what you're worth. I don't want that information on my desktop. So just deal directly with the bank. And the same is true with a broker. You do not want to give this guy your information. Just don't do it. That's your own personal information. None of his business. But a broker is going to ask you for it anyway. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. How are you acting as a principal, a syndicator, or a broker? All right, now the broker, they're asking that question because they don't want to have to split the commission. We all know that. That's why they ask that question. But they also want to know, well, are you a principal or are you a syndicator? Well, the answer is, well, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. If this deal is as good as you say it is, I might buy it outright. But if the deal is not as good as what you say it is, I may have to bring in some other investors and make this deal happen. But you understand that, broker, don't you? You understand that, if this turns out once I do the due diligence, it's not as pretty as a baby as you thought it was, then maybe I might have to bring in some other investors. But let me tell you right now, if this deal is as good as you say it is, I got one guy right behind me who will write a check for the entire deal. We'll put the whole deal together and have it done in 30 days. But if it's not, it's on you, Mr. Broker, because you told me it was great, and we'll just have to wait and see. So that's another question, another way to deflect from a broker. Now, here's what happens when the broker's out of questions. This is where you get to turn it around. This is where you get to turn and say, hey, well, tell me about yourself, Mr. Broker. Tell me about the deals you've closed in the last 12 months. Or more importantly, tell me about the deals that you have not been able to close in the last 12 months. Because that's what I really want to know about. Why weren't you able to close them? What was wrong with the seller? What was wrong with the property? What was wrong with the buyer? Let me know. But now you've taken this whole interview from where the broker was questioning you. Now you're going to put it back on him. Well, think about it, folks. Why not? He's not the only guy in town. Go find another broker. Why should I be doing business with you, Mr. Broker? I want to be doing business with a broker that I know, like, and trust. It's somebody that if things go wrong, that guy's going to have my back. That will never happen with a broker. But those are the types of things you want to say to the broker and put him on record as to explain why he's the guy that you should be doing business with. Folks, I'm telling you, as I always say, and you've heard me say this a million times, there's only one person showing up at the closing table with a checkbook, and it's you. And everybody ought to be kissing your big white behind, okay? No offense to anybody that is offended by that. But I want you to understand that these people do not work for you, and they don't owe you anything, and you don't owe them anything either. You both come to the table with clean hands. Don't expect them to do anything for you. They won't. And if all they do is ask things of you, push back on them and say, ain't going to happen. I am not going to disclose to you all the information about my deal. We are not friends, Mr. Broker. There's a antagonistic relationship between the two of us. So make sure you always approach that relationship that way. They are not your friends. The broker is not your friend. He's the seller's friend. The seller pays him. He doesn't pay you, or you don't pay him. So he owes you nothing. And the whole idea is the only way the broker gets paid is if the deal closes. So he is going to try to figure out as best he possibly can by asking probing questions if you are able to qualify and close in that deal. It's not his decision to decide whether you can or can't. It's the bank's decision. It's the property's decision. Don't let him control your future. Don't be the person that is sitting in that one-bedroom apartment in some 65-plus retirement community who's waiting for their Social Security check because that's the only source of income they have, because they couldn't answer the questions to the broker correctly 15 years ago, and therefore they never bought a multifamily property to supplement their retirement income. Don't be that person, okay? I don't want you to be that person. Okay, now, let me just check questions. If anybody has any questions right now about that, if anybody has any questions about what they should be asking their brokers, or what they should or should not be saying to their brokers, please let me go. Oh my gosh. I represent that remark. Thank you, Bob. Yes, you do. Okay, let's see. Here's a question. Charlotte, one brokerage firm we've been dealing with has in-house financial lending. Should we avoid in-house lenders since we have to share our financial info with that sellers' brokers will see? Yes. You need to remain in control of the deal at all times. That is the number one rule. When you come to my seminars, when you come to my due diligence seminars, I say that, I scream that from the rooftops. Always remain in control of the deal at all times. When you let the broker control the in-house lender, you've just given up that control. It's none of his business. And let me tell you something. I was working with a I was working with a particular client of mine. Let me just see if this particular client is on the call right now. Yes. This particular client is on the phone call right now, and if this particular client, who knows what I'm talking about, would like to come online and share her side of the story, she would happen to be dealing with a brokerage house. Yeah, it's interesting. Bob Bryanton, who owns about 1,400 apartment units, just said, my partner of 6 years has never seen my PFS, personal financial statement, nor have I seen his. And that's exactly the way it should be. So you will never give a broker your PFS, your schedule of which includes your schedule of real estate owned. You will never give it to him. And Bob just says, and this is so true, I'm in partnership with my family members. I've never seen their financial statements. I don't want to see it. It opens me up for huge liability. I don't even want to see it. So if a broker asks you for that, it's none of his business, okay? Now, this particular client of mine who is on the call right now, and I'm waiting for this person to give me approval to welcome them onto the call and maybe open up their phone line so they can answer this question. She was working with a particular brokerage house that also had the lender who sat in the room right next door to the broker, who happened to sit right next door to the room of the owner of the property. So you had the broker, the lender, and the owner all in the same hallway together. Now tell me if there was not a conflict there. And they wanted her to put her loan application in through the lender. And I said, not on your life. These people are not your friends. And the person that I'm talking about has just chimed in, and she said, ha, 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 I remember that. What a joke. And let me ask you, just to keep this totally live, would you have this person that just answered that question, would you have any objection to me unmuting you and having you come on live and discuss that with everybody right now? I will, if you say no, I totally understand. I won't put you through that. Okay, good. She said yes. All right. So I am going to unmute the call, and let's see how the audio goes. Are you there?
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Anka. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Bob.
Yeah, Bob's out there. But this question actually came from a new owner forum member in the Pennsylvania area. Bob says hello. So Anka, remember this deal? And for those of you on the call right now, this broker is somebody who does a lot. I mean, he's a lot of distressed assets out of the Florida marketplace.
Yeah, they were down, I think, in Jacksonville, right. and we were looking at some properties in Georgia, I think. Okay. And they turned out to be these really horrible properties, and they were just so desperately trying to unload them. Right. I do remember that. That was a while back.
I know, I remember that. But as soon as this client asked the question, it reminded me of that scenario. Why didn't you describe the scenario and what these guys wanted you to do?
Well, I mean, essentially, they wanted me to do everything through them. They wanted to keep it in-house because they said that they could then guarantee that I would get the best deal and the best lending. And of course, I was pretty skeptical, with all of that. I just thought the whole sort of situation was a little odd, the way they had it set up, especially when it turned out that they also owned the properties. Right. So they were not only brokering them, but they owned these properties. Right,
exactly. Yeah. So what you were doing, as I said before, is you were giving bullets to the enemy for their own gun. And, you just don't want to do that. You want to, the financing, the debt financing is another one of your tools. And, that's what you need to do when you're putting these deals together, is you've got to structure the debt the right way. And, you got to do it in such a way that might be in conflict with the seller. And if you're putting everything through the seller, you might be having a problem. You might end the deal, right there before it even gets started. So whatever happened with that deal? Do you remember?
I told him I wasn't interested, and literally half a year later, he approached me again and tried to, same deal. Clearly these properties were just not going anywhere. I think he approached me like over a course of a year, 2 or 3 times, trying to sell this property in Georgia. There was also one in Pensacola, Florida, right, that they were the same thing.
All right. Listen, for everyone's benefit, do you have any objection to sharing the name of the brokerage house, just so everybody can be on guard?
I don't even know if I remember who they were.
I think I do. Can I say it?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Wasn't it like justmultifamily.com?
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Just Multifamily.
Yeah. So everybody on this call here, go check it out. Go check out justmultifamily.com. Fool around. They typically buy bank-owned properties. They try to, rehab them themselves or reposition them themselves, and then sell them to unwitting, investors. So it's a great learning experience. Anka learned a ton on that particular transaction, but it's not really the type of deal. I think Anka, I was telling you, please don't do this deal.
Yeah. Well, I'm needless to say, no longer do those.
Exactly. Thank you. Hey, by the way, while I have you on the call, and I know you're going to be on the owner forum call next week, but why don't you share with everybody what you got going on? You got a lot going on right now.
Oh my goodness. Well, we have a 70-unit Class A property that's going to close next month, and then I have a 139-unit Class A property. In fact, just got a call from my lending broker. They have an investor who's very interested in being like the only investor on that. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll talk to him.
Isn't that great?
And then that's also Class A, and these are both sort of urban-style loft properties here in Richmond. And then I am working on a very unique property. It's an assisted living center in near Patuxent River, Maryland. For any of you who are living in the D.C. area, it's about an hour and a half from D.C. Also, Class A facility. It's on a 65-acre farm, so I'm working on that. So
Wow, that's great.
all three under contract.
Yeah, I know. You're keeping me busy.
Makes you a little crazy,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Yeah. And yeah, Bob Bryington's like, yeah.
Yeah, Bob's like, hey, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Way to go, Bob. So, okay. Thanks. I'm gonna unmute you now, and I'll mute you now, and thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, so let's bring this in for a landing. If anybody has any other questions, I'll keep my eyes peeled for questions. If I don't get to them before we hang up, just shoot me an email, info@multifamilyinvestingacademy.com. So let me just wrap this up by saying that the next call in 2 weeks, it's going to be a different time. I think it's at 4 p.m. I've announced that. Make sure you sign up for that. It's going to be a question and answer call with Jen Taylor, out of Gene Trowbridge's office. So make sure you come to that. Now, the other thing is that, and this is the last special offer, and I'm going to make this available. If obviously I've got about 100 people on my masterclass call, and not all of them are on this call today. I'm going to end up sending a blast email out to everybody with this particular announcement. It's going to be on a first come first served basis. Last chance for a new special offer on the owner forum. I'm going to open it up for May. I've already got my April slots filled. I'm going to open it up for May. I've got 5 slots available for the next owner forum group starting in May. Now, after this particular event, all of the owner forums will be priced at $497, and I don't think I'm going to hold that for very long once I start filling them up. I think because of what we offer on the owner forum, I just can't keep offering it at that particular price. And so watch this. I'm going to do one of those RIA type events where then I cross out the $497. And so what I'm going to say is I'm going to hold 5 slots open in May on a first come first served basis for 6 months. You have to be guaranteed that you're going to be in the program for 6 months for $397, down from the $497. And I'm going to hold it for you there at that price for a while. Oops, whoops, it went backwards. Hold on. I'm going to go back and do that again and scroll all the way down the end. Oh, I blew it. All right. Well, so you're going to get an email from everybody, from me. I did it again. An email from me that you can get into the owner forum. This one next group of May for 5 people, I'm going to hold at the $397 rate. After that, it's never going to be at that price again. It's going to be the $497. You got to give me 6-month guaranteed. It's unlike the master class where you can jump in and jump out. The owner forum, I need to have you in for 6 months in order to build a core group of your mastermind friends who you're going to be doing deals with going forward. So you got to give me that commitment, and I'm going to hold it at the $397 price. For what it offers, you'll find out that's an absolute steal. I know as time goes on, I'm going to do away with that $497 price, and we're going to go much higher. If you have any questions about how it works, what you need to do is go to www.mfiamasterclass, just like the regular program, but /owner forum, and you can see what it entails. If you go to that website, owner forum, the mfiamasterclass.com /owner forum, do not click the order now or the purchase now or the sign up now button on that website. That's going to charge you the full $497 rate. If you want the discounted rate, just shoot me an email and I'll get you into the program at the $397 rate. So don't do it that way. And I'm going to be sending out an email to all the other classes. But once I have 5, I'm shutting it down at the $397 rate. So hopefully you'll sign on board. So everybody, I hope that was helpful. I hope you got a lot out of that call. Let me just do one last quick little check. on my, see if anybody has any questions. I think this is a pretty good topic. Oh, wow. Hey, Charlie. Okay, Rick. Oh, there's always some wise guy. Is that the best you can do? Yeah, okay. And I'll talk to these guys privately. Okay, what we need to do to get ready for the first. Okay, hey, yeah, one student here asked a question. Can you tell us what we need to do to get ready for the first owner forum call? Okay, here's the deal. I am going to build up your confidence so that you know how to make offers for multifamily deals. So what we are going to be doing in every single phone call is making offers. You are going to be showing up to the table with deals that you're interested in. And if you're not even interested in them, I don't care. We're going to make offers. Every single week, you will be making offers in the owner forum. And I don't care if you like the property. It doesn't matter. I want you making offers. I want you starting dialogues with brokers who are in this business. I want you starting to get things out there, because if this isn't the right property, the broker's got some behind the door that he's never going to show you unless you show him that you know how to make offers. So the whole idea behind the owner forum is to increase your activity, and you've got nothing to worry about. You've got no, oh, I can't qualify. Oh, I can't do this. Don't worry about it. That's why you're in the owner forum. We are removing all of those roadblocks and making sure that everything is going to be taken care of for you. You're going to make offers with absolute confidence when you're in the owner forum. So when you show up to the call, have some deals that you're ready to make offers on. That's all we're going to be doing. You'll have full access to me during that time in order to, and afterwards, and any other time during the course of the month, in order to make sure that you're getting the deals drafted and out the door. You will be making offers in the owner forum. And if you're not, don't bother showing up. I don't want you in the program. I'm serious. I'd love your money, but if you're not doing it, you're not doing any of us any good. And you're going to work with these other people in Mastermind. They're going to become your friends. They're going to become your confidants. They're going to become your partners. They're going to become the people you do business with. So make sure that when you show up to the owner forum, you are going to have deals that you're interested in making offers on, because that's what we're going to do. Okay? All right. And, yeah, so that is really it. Hopefully I answered everybody's question. Let's talk soon. And you know, as always, if you have any questions, just send me an email to info@Multifamily Investing Academy. Thanks everybody for being on the call. Just coming up on an hour, perfect timing. And don't forget to be here in two weeks for Kim Taylor. I'm sorry, I called her Jan. Kim Taylor of Gene Trowbridge's office for our securities review. Thanks everybody. I'll talk to you soon.